Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Upscale interview. I am Jerry Strauss, and folks, it's been a very unique year in the entertainment world. We've had delays in our favorite TV shows, delays in our favorite movies, but through it all, we've come to experience and enjoy and love some great new stuff. And we have with us this week the star, the woman at the forefront of what you have to say is the hottest new show in network TV that's come upon our screens this year. The show is found. You know her from such shows as Shameless and a lot of other things over the years, but now she is bringing us this whole new intriguing series week to week. We are gripped because it's gripping. And she's here, Shanola Hampton. How are you?
Thank you. Hi, it's so good to be here. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Oh, so good, so good, and a little unsettled too because I've been watching and binging and catching up with Found, and I think that's kind of the desired effect, right? This show
Yes.
is it hits us in so many different ways, emotionally, mentally. It's enjoyable, it's disturbing, it's everything in between, and but most of all, there's gratitude. Certainly from fans, new fans like me, and fans who've been with you since you debuted, because you guys are confirmed we are heading to season 2.
We're heading
So
to season 2 and more episodes. So we're heading to season 2 with 22 episodes. So a lot more for folks to enjoy. Did you know they still were doing 22 episodes? They are.
they're doing 22 episodes if the people demand it, and the people have
Yay.
certainly demanded more. Found. We do
Thank
want to
you
say
so
that even season 1, we're looking ahead, of course. January 9th and 16th, we got 2 more big episodes to round out this season, and
yeah,
my God, I'm terrified of what's to come,
I know.
because we've been thrown for a loop so many times already in this first season. How are you guys going to leave us hanging? I don't even want to know, but I can't wait to find out.
I will tell you the thing about finales is you want it to be satisfying. I'm a fanatic for television,
Mhm.
and you will be satisfied. You're going to go through all of the emotions. There'll be some happy things that happen and things that we get to close the chapter on, but there also, you see now, Gabby is completely unhinged, and everything comes to a head, and it all comes down to these final 2 episodes of season 1, and it will not leave you disappointed.
It's so interesting because you guys had to kind of live through this rolling out of the show from the beginning, largely in a world where the industry was on strike. You weren't allowed to really do press or talk about the show too much. You just kind of had to sit back and watch. What was that experience like for you? Like, what kind of feedback did you see come through? Not that you could go out into the world and discuss it or respond to it, but has it been an exciting ride just watching that following build over the weeks?
I have to say the Found fans have been so engaged and vocal, and it's been lovely. I'm not on the Twitter or X or Y or whatever it is, with people who will like send me screenshots of everything that people are talking about. Mark Paul doesn't like people to tweet while watching the show because he thinks he should be watching us. I, however, love the engagement of them. No, they didn't, and then the run, and so I get to see all that. It has been such a positive, more positive than negative. Of course, it's not going to be for everyone. No entertainment medium is, but it has been such a positive, engaging reaction. Also, it's shown a little bit about our society and the sickness that there might be with the dark love. Are Mark,
Mhm.
are Sir and Gabby Mosley going to get together? It's a little, and then people kind of rooting for them to get together. And you want to say, you know that he kidnapped her, right? So it's the weirdest chemistry, and I get it because it is a male and it's a female, and automatically the mind of any human goes to, well, they must be going to connect on a sexual level or relationship. But that's not what these 2 characters are, and no one's ever seen that on television before. So it's been fun to see people try to wrap their minds around everything.
It's funny. I was going to ask you this in a couple minutes, but I'm going to go back to those of you out there who watched a show that unfortunately ended after 1 season that was called Pitch, a one-hit wonder, if you will, 1 season show that a lot of people loved. The 2 leads were your current co-star Mark Paul Gosselaar, Kylie Bunbury, and very different story, very different relationship, but also one that was not necessarily a conventional romantic relationship, but still that chemistry between the two of them was so unique and fascinating, and it just kind of God, I'm going to use this very cheesy word, it crackled on screen. And I feel the same thing in a very different way about you two, about yourself and Mark Paul. What goes into that? Like between you two, like how do you figure out exactly what that dynamic is that can really excite and enthrall people as it has?
Well, I think you already said what the secret, the ingredient to the recipe is. You have Mark Paul. If you want great chemistry, you get a Mark Paul Gosselaar. No, honestly, it's crazy because our connection on screen was nothing rehearsed and nothing we even discussed. We didn't get into where do you see these characters going? What do you want this to be? It was none of that. It was very organic from the beginning. We looked at each other. In all seriousness, Mark Paul is one of the best partners to have because he doesn't come with a plan of what he has to do and is so rigid in that plan. He comes ready to play, and that's how I work too. I'm ready to play, and we play very, very well together.
Yeah. Now, this show in general, it's such a unique show exploring really this very specific area of our world that unfortunately we have to live in, which is that lack of of security, just because of the potential for these kidnappings to happen that you guys explore so much. And we explore it through the eyes of this entire team that has either been kidnapped or experienced it in some way in their personal lives. You're a producer on this show as well, so you've been so plugged into this from conception. What appealed to you about the idea of taking a show in this direction?
Well, what's wonderful, and I can't take credit for the conception because that's all our showrunner and creator, NK. She is such a visionary, and really the show came about because she read real life articles about people in underserved community. In her case, it was little brown girls, 7 of them. No one was looking for them. No one was. They weren't in the headlines, and it triggered her to say, "How do I use my platform to not only highlight a very relevant thing, but to also make it a conversation?" And she came up with Found, and what was that spin? And that was her in the basement. And so she was able to put all that together. So when it was presented to me, one of the things coming off of a great run on Shameless, it gave me the opportunity to read scripts and say no, and to figure out where I really wanted to go next in my career. One of the things that I wanted to do was to find, I didn't know what it was, but I always said finding a project with some sort of purpose that was meaningful, playing characters. And then here comes Found. They talk about manifestation. I didn't know it was going to be found, and it was going to be such a relevant topic and so timely. So what drew me to it is that we get to tell stories of indigenous and unhoused and brown people, and all of those stories that haven't been told in any procedural, maybe one episode here and there, but never in this way, not highlighted in this way. That was really important, as well as the story of seeing all of these people going through traumatic experiences and where they are in their healing process, which is
Yeah.
also something I think is so fascinating because 10 minutes or so are left at the end of our episodes once we solve the cases, and then you're going into the characters. That's not a very procedural way to go about telling the stories. It usually goes, you go, the story ends with us solving the cases, but you get to go through the experience of healing with all of these individual characters. So all that was a draw to me. And then, of course, there was a man in the basement.
Little extra cherry on top. But I love in the pilot, those last 10 minutes, as you say, or the last few minutes, just kind of establishing exactly what you talked about, this idea that there are these people who are so talented and so powerful, and they accomplish this thing of solving this first case in this first episode, and they're celebrating, and then seeing everyone go home and back to their normal private lives, and 5 padlocks on the door, and how everyone has to like deal with their own trauma and continues to deal with it even while they're doing these amazing things through this group. There's such a sense of kind of empowerment to that, but also struggling with trying to have enough power to feel safe in this world. Is that a theme that you feel from episode to episode and will continue to drive the show, you think?
I think absolutely. And what's great about the show, especially now that we have 22, we're going to get to learn about these other characters and from whence they came, and flashing back to how they got to this point with Mosley and Associates, and their stories, which I think is going to be really nice for the audience to see, where Dawn came from. And Margaret, we know her the most right now, and her son being taken in the bus station. So
Right.
I think that one of the things that I love the most is that our heroes don't have to be so heroic where they don't have flaws and that they're not dealing with something. That's one of the things that we see on television a lot. We see these strong characters and then we think that they have no struggle, and that's not reality. We all have some sort of struggle and something that we are fighting for or fighting against. And found all of these characters are in a situation where they're doing a lot of good but also have had a lot of struggle, and that's a really beautiful thing, especially in the hero role of Gabby Mosley, to have her not have all of her
Mm.
senses but come off so strong. I think it's such a beautiful story to tell, to not be in a place where she could even be in love or have a relationship. The hero's always the love story, and there's no space for that for Gabby Mosley, which is another beautiful layer to this entire thing.
Yeah, she's as much of the hero as she is the victim all at the same time.
Exactly.
I want to ask you, because looking at your career, you've done a lot of different things, but I'm going back to a movie called Things Never Said back
Oh,
in 2013.
yeah.
A woman who tries to find the strength to leave her physically abusive husband. Now, the connection I want to make here is that two very traumatized characters that you have played over the span of this 10 years, just for starters, just digging into your career a little bit, what kind of toughness, what kind of strength, what kind of thing inside does it take for you to say, I actually want to put myself through this and play these kinds of characters? Because I feel like not all actors, not all performers are cut out for that. But
Yeah.
you're diving in head first. What does it take for you to commit to something like that, especially if it could be long term here on Found?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I've never thought about it from that perspective. I just like to play roles that have layers and they mean something. And if I'm telling someone's story, I want it to be truthful. So I want to come from a place of non-judgment and what it would be like in Things Never Said to be a victim of domestic violence and what keeps you there, and making that honest choice, and how the strongest person can fall victim to that. So what I will say is I play these roles, but I don't take it off the screen. I'm not one of those actors. I'm not method in any way. I have a really beautiful life. My children deserves a beautiful mom. They don't deserve Gabby Mosley coming in and parenting them. I have a wonderful husband that doesn't deserve to be locked in a basement. So I really leave what I can on the screen, but I love to go there from a truthful place and to be there for that moment. And I don't know what draws me to it. I only know that I want to just be the vessel in which these stories are told in a truthful way.
Yeah, and you're definitely scoring big
Thank
in that category so far with Found, and we continue to be excited episode after episode. What's coming next? Of course, January 9th and 16th, you can look for brand new episodes to finish out season one on
you.
Peacock. You can catch up and binge, of course, on Peacock whenever you want,
Yeah.
or check it out on NBC for those premiere episodes, and then we're waiting for the announcement. Of course, we're looking ahead to a supersized 22 episode season 2. So lots
Yes.
more Found to come, and lots more Shanola to come too. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You
You
were
are a busy individual, but thank you for joining us on the Upscale interview.
Thank you, Upscale. I really appreciate being here. Thank you so, so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Check us out next time here on the Upscale interview. I'm Jerry Strauss. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Yes, Jay.